to be a woman with a voice, a woman with a law firm, a woman who is a strong advocate for justice and for change. That's going to get criticism because women are still second class citizens in the United States under the law.
Gloria, the first question what we try to really get to the bottom of with our talk show every week is we have a lot of the most ambitious attorneys in the nation here. And what the reason they're sitting here wanting to learn from you right now is because they want to reach their personal goals through their law practice. They want to be able to, in some ways, do what you've done in terms of getting nationwide attention and having maybe some of the highest profile cases in the nation like you've had. And the first question I kind of wanted to open with was, what is your number one kind of, how do you see the world? Like, what is your number one lens through which you see the world when you make decisions around building arguably the most successful attorney brand in the United States?
Well, Bill, thank you so much for that question. And the answer is what I suggested to my law partners of 47 years, who were my classmates, when I discussed with them going into practice with me way back in the 70s, before some of your viewers were even born. And I said to them that I believe that if you do good, you will do well. Maybe it won't come back from that particular case, but in general, that was my belief. I knew nothing about branding. I knew nothing about what Andy was talking about. I just believed that put good out in the world, it will come back to you. And also, I felt that I was a woman, still am, and that I have a duty, moral duty, to give back. Meaning, I was fortunate to be able to grow up in a row house in Philadelphia with parents who only had an eighth grade education, no money. But I became a lawyer at a time in the 70s when very few women actually were lawyers, certainly not partners in their own firm as I was. And so I felt that we should take some cases involving women's rights. And I did it because I felt that I morally should do that, to pass it on, do good. And I found out there was a huge need. I had no idea that there would still be such a need 47 years later.
So powerful. And I want to dive into one phrase that you just used. And we've had a brilliant marketer by the name of Jay Abraham on here before, who's the right-hand marketer of Tony Robbins. And he actually said all the best marketers, they operate from a place of moral obligation, like you just said, where the reason you're able to have so much conviction. I mean, when I watch you in interviews on, all of the major news outlets, I see so much conviction in your voice, and you're willing to get criticized for your viewpoints, whereas so many people do the opposite. They tiptoe around, they hedge their bets on their beliefs, and then they never end up actually speaking their voice. So when you are going out there and making claims about things, what is your viewpoint around that, where you don't hedge your bets and you are completely shameless and open about what your beliefs are, because you are operating from that place of a moral obligation?
Well, Bill, I do understand that, that being an assertive woman, as opposed to, a little woman who tiptoes around and is, wants to be called a lady and is afraid, to be a woman with a voice, a woman with a law firm, a woman who is a strong advocate for justice and for change. That's going to get criticism because women are still second class citizens in the United States under the law. There's still so much misogyny, and people don't want to necessarily admit it, but it's still there. There's still sexism. Whether people love me or hate me, I'm not a politician. I don't put my finger in the wind and see which way it's blowing. Am I love them, I hate it. It's just completely irrelevant to me. People know what I stand for. back in the 70s, back in the 80s. I dealt with precedent setting cases for people who were lesbian, who were gay, who were transgender. And, that was new. A lot of people didn't understand. They never heard somebody who was a person who was a lesbian say, I'm a lesbian, I deserve rights. Which many of my clients, did speak out, because I believe my client should have a voice, not just their attorney, me, having a voice. And we won those cases. So, we expect that, people need to be educated, the public does, about treating everybody with respect and dignity. So again, it's not about, you can't be in a popularity contest if you're doing civil rights, race discrimination, sexual orientation, AIDS discrimination, HIV discrimination, gender discrimination, sexual harassment, Me Tooism, which, we do a lot of rape and sexual assault cases, and sexual harassment. You can't just say, well, everybody's going to agree with me, so I'll do this. If everybody doesn't agree with me, I won't do that. I think everybody has to decide for their law practice how they're going to do it. It's not a one size fits all. But in civil rights, get ready for controversy, because it still exists.